I'm Donna Skell, along with my co-host Tiffany Ross. Welcome to A Time to Dream. We're brought to you by Roaring Lambs Ministry, which is all about helping you roar about our extraordinary God. Learn how to effectively tell your story of what He's done in your life, and then we can provide all kinds of opportunities for you to share, like on A Time to Dream here. Or if you're a writer, you might like to submit your story for our next publishing, Stories of Roaring Faith, Volume 6. So today I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever taken a selfie and then put a filter over it, maybe to hide the wrinkles or the lines under your eyes or the circles? I know I have, and our guest today wants to tell us that we can be unfiltered, that God made us beautiful, and we just need to live out our internal beauty as well as our external beauty. So we're so excited today to welcome Evelyn Kershaw. Evelyn worked at her first salon at age 16. Her mother, who had a career in cosmetology for 52 years, hired her as an assistant. Young Evelyn fell in love with the salon business, and while attending high school, she was able to simultaneously participate in a cosmetology program and managed to graduate at age 17 with both her high school diploma and cosmetology license. Evelyn's talent and passion quickly propelled her to notoriety. In 1993, she became a national educator for the esteemed Paul Mitchell brand, and through a series of promotions and courageous steps of faith, Evelyn went from being a single cosmetologist in a 60 square foot room to now having her own storefront, the Evelyn Kershaw Salon, located at a prestigious location in Plano, Texas. Her salon features several master stylists and skincare therapists of North Texas. She's a featured author in the book No Filter Needed, which you can see right in front. And last but certainly not least, she's the mother of 4 wonderful children. And one other thing that I just learned about Evelyn is she is studying at SMU Perkins School of Theology and furthering her spiritual director formation. So welcome to A Time to Dream. Thank you so much for coming over today and doing this with us. We're honored to have you on our program. And your success is truly astounding. I told Evelyn that before I got the chance to meet her today, I knew of her, Evelyn, because her beautiful reputation precedes her, and it all started way back when. So we love to tell your story chronologically. So let's go back to your childhood and tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up.
Oh, I really feel like I had a beautiful childhood. Very happy, innocent. My family, my parents are immigrants from South America, from Colombia. And so I love that. It's really, I love the perspective that it gives me now as an adult.
Yes.
I really didn't realize until later in life that I was kind of raised different from my American friends, even though I was born here in Texas, Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a little difference, and there's a time in your life, where you kind of are shy about that difference.
Mm-hmm.
But today I am so grateful for my life and my childhood and my parents and my Catholic upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
I was, raised Catholic, went to parochial school. It's very common in Colombia, so my parents wanted to make sure that I was going to parochial school here. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Well, Evelyn, you mentioned a part of your life, and Donna and I, she's often my prayer partner, and I'll share with her my woes. And so I'm going through a season right now, even with my daughter. She's 16 and every bit of it.
Yes.
And though we love each other, sometimes sparks can fly. And so with you, though you had, I'm sure, a very loving mother, doting, parents, you said in high school your mom, you and she kind of had a volatile relationship. Would you share that with us?
Yes. be happy to. A little embarrassed, but yeah, my mother, amazing woman. Like I don't know that she realized what she did for me in my life. And I'm looking forward for her to get to listen to this, because so she can know.
We love you, Mom.
That's right, Mom. Thank you. She really raised me to believe I could do anything, and very confident, and wanted me to be independent and not rely on anyone for my happiness or my freedom or my, she was the one that actually came to the United States. She met my father later in Colombia when she went back to visit, but she was about 16, 17 years old when she came here. She was sponsored by an American couple who, she lived in California for a little bit at first, went to Berkeley to learn English, and then they moved to Texas, and they were my grandparents, because my grandparents were living in Colombia. My grandmama and grandpapa were mortified when she wanted to be a hairdresser. But that was what she wanted to do. That was her passion. She loved the idea of it, and loved people. And I even asked her recently why she came here, and I was expecting this really brave and cool answer. And maybe I waited too late to ask the question, but she said, "Well, I just really liked Americans." Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad. So we struggled because she told me about that. She taught me about that independence, and I decided to exercise that independence a little younger than she expected.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I don't know if you guys have done this, but I know I've done it in parenting my children. You go through a phase where you kind of get a little more scared and a little more controlling, and you start realizing, oh, I am not in control of everything. I can't, And I think that happened with my mother. I mean, maybe reality set in. She was living in a foreign country, and she did kind of get a little overprotective, a little controlling, and then she raised this independent person, but yet she wasn't ready for me to exercise that independence. And so we butt heads a lot because of that. And I left home at 17 years old. Yeah, it was not smart. But when you're a kid and I'm sure hormonal, I was hormonal, and just thought I could do anything. Yeah. Right?
That's good though.
Yeah.
God's used that in your life, and
Absolutely.
You've been highly successful, and I can really relate too, because I know that when I got out of high school, I wanted to move away. I was ready to be out on my own and, make my own decisions and kind of not have to answer to anybody else. But that is a dangerous time, because although we all have to make our own mistakes and learn from them, we really don't have all the wisdom that's needed at that age. And so I know that was the case with you as well.
Right.
So what do those next days look like for you?
Well, I was very stubborn and tenacious, and of course, it kind of takes in our culture, it kind of takes a village. Like all my parents' friends, also were very disappointed in my decision, and even one was I had gone to my mother's for something, and there was one of their friends there, and he told me how could I do that to my parents, and the more I heard things like that, the madder I just got. And so I just decided I was going to prove them all wrong, that I did not make a irrational decision, and I knew exactly what I was doing, and my mother needed to know how I felt, because I didn't know how to vocalize that. I've always been very kind of quiet and shy, and I know that's probably hard to believe today, but I didn't know how to use my words, so to speak, and so it was a passive-aggressive attempt to be heard, and so I just thought, you can say that, but I'm not going to allow you to speak that over me. And I had not finished high school yet, so I continued to, in fact, I was living with my boyfriend, who did become my husband, but we lived in far Dallas, off of Alpha 635, and I graduated from the Colony High School.
Oh, wow.
So I made that trip every morning, and not only did I make the trip, I would pick up girlfriends on the way that needed rides to school so they didn't have to ride the bus, and that's how I made gas money.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was, always kind of thinking outside the box, and gonna make sure that I made it happen. Yeah.
So
For
how
sure.
did marriage look like for you with the getting
So,
married young is
yes.
not an easy feat.
Right. So, again, I was not going to make any mistakes. And when you turn up pregnant and, it's like, think we need to get married. And he didn't disagree. I don't know if he really was ready, but he didn't disagree. So we got married, and my parents were actually great about that. They actually did throw us a wedding, and so that was wonderful, that we were able to make strides forward from that. But my husband was not a believer, raised completely different, and the hard relationship with my parents and myself didn't get any easier through my whole marriage, because to them I didn't marry at my station, like they wanted more and what they thought was better for me. And one of the things I have never been is like a very judging person, to a fault, because I didn't discern like maybe people that I shouldn't be around. So I loved everybody. I've always loved people, and I just didn't get it. You send me to church school, parochial schools, and they tell you love everybody and don't judge people and don't, but yet you can say nasty things about my husband and his parents, and as a kid, and I don't know that I really understood everything that was happening, but I knew something just wasn't right. And yes, he was making mistakes, but you're also making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So it all kind of, it was not easy. So I felt very alone. No parent, our relationship with my parents wasn't very good. And then my husband was trying to figure things out. The good thing is that I leaned closer to God during those times. Once my children were born, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I want my kids to have the childhood I had. Right? I was going to church. I was, I believed in God, and I wanted them to be good people, and thank goodness God was putting influential people in my life. And not influential people what we know today, but just quiet, discerning people that would sit in my chair, and I would cut their hair and just share little bits of wisdom just when I needed it. And that just kept multiplying and multiplying. In high school, I met somebody that, had showed me the Bible. Being raised Catholic, we didn't really read the Bible straight out of the Bible. The priest did that, and we read out of the Missalette, the Gospels, but I was also a kid, so I didn't really hear, And, but when I met this person, he had the Bible memorized, and so it was fascinating to me. And his name is Bobby, and I am so grateful for that. And he knew Revelations like the back of his hand. And I had never seen that, and he would compare like what it was like today versus what the Bible was saying, and it all made sense. And it's like, oh my gosh, it really is like that. And we would stay up till hours talking about those things. So all those influences just really had me wanting to know more and learn more. And it was very helpful during those times in my marriage that my head was spinning, and not only was I trying to raise good children and be a good wife, I was trying to survive.
And build your business. And
Build
so
my
you
business.
were a career woman, and you were a young mother, and probably a lot of different pressures came on you. And so how was your marriage working at that time?
It wasn't. By then, I was so lost and so desperate. I just needed to get help somewhere, and because I didn't know exactly how to turn. I think I knew in theory Jesus was there and God was there, but I didn't know how to take advantage of that. It was just like I saw him more as this person just watching what I was doing and rating what that looked like, and it's okay, God, I'll get it right next time. I'll get,
Right.
That's kind of my relationship with him was more like a parent figure, more like that controlling, overprotective parent figure.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, I wanted my husband to be saved. That was the only thing I could think of. You know, it's like I wanted him to believe in Jesus, you know, in God, and that could be better. And he just always seemed unhappy. And he could never hold down a job. You know, we used to joke about friends that didn't play well with others. You know, he just had a hard time playing well with others. He kind of had ideas of working for himself. Every time the new idea would come, it was a struggle, or another child would come. Yeah. So it was a difficult time.
And I know that sadly it ultimately did end in divorce.
Right.
But here you are still, you know, you have 4 children and you need to provide for them. And, you know, with God's help, He has really propelled you in your career, Evelyn. I mean, you really do have a prestigious location in Plano, and God's really guided you through all of this. Would you share with our listeners just what that journey's been like from a little bitty tiny station
Yeah.
to where you are now?
Yeah. It's amazing how, with having God in my life, I now had joy, which is to me so much different than happiness, right? And because you could be struggling in your house with a husband making terrible decisions and raising 4 children that needed our care and love and support, and all I knew to do was just drown myself in work. And in my mind, if I just made more money, I could fix all our problems. You know, if Tim would just get saved, our problems would all be solved. And so it was always constantly like, what's next? Just if I do this, if I do that. So it was a spinning of just working constantly. But the neat thing is it was kind of at the same time my almost a form of solace. If I look back at it now, it's like maybe why I became kind of more of a workaholic, and because there I could truly be me, and I could really share my heart, like just deep down, really what I wanted to do is just help people. And so one girl had come and taught a class, and I was so taken back with how she taught us, because it wasn't like I was taught in school. It was life applicable. It was fun. I was able to remember everything she said, and I'm like, I want to do that. So that's when I went to work for Paul Mitchell. She was an educator for Paul Mitchell, and so I went with them and got the training to do what she did. And as I learned, it helps me to learn to share with others. So I would share with others and help them, and it started growing. I got noticed by the company I was working for, became a manager, and it just kept going from there. I mean, literally, I can't say I did any of it. I mean, it was just being a good person and sharing what God was doing for me to other people. So, yeah, that's what got me there. I mean, I wish I could say there's this real magic formula, you know, like, you know, it wasn't a degree, it wasn't, you know, it was a mom, wife, career woman, just trying to make it, just surviving, you know.
Well, and what I love you shared with us earlier, and I love how you put it, that, you know, none of us we don't arrive until heaven.
Right.
You know, it's always this growing process in Jesus. And you were even sharing with us just what God has been showing you lately about your ministry and your profession, and how, yes, they merge, but what He wants to show you about truly being unfiltered in life, right?
Right.
Would you share some of that?
Sure. Give me a little more, like, what part exactly? If I'm understanding, if I'm understanding correctly, ask again.
Yeah, but what you shared about what you shared in the book.
Okay.
And yeah, go with that.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if that's where you were going with it or something different, but
Sure.
okay. So yes, a lot of my life lessons, right, my spiritual journey, actually matured through the problems I was having in my business, because I was trying to survive. And being a single mom, eventually with 4 children, I needed to get it right. And in my mind, you know, I thought my salon was my ministry, which was, when I was young, I really had, my children were my ministry, and I would tell people that. I like, when people talk about going on mission trips, I'm like, I just really feel like it's like my kids are my mission right now, and then, I went through this phase as they got a little bit older. It's like, well, I have this salon. I have a 3,300 square foot beautiful salon that was pretty much given to me, and that's what I love, for His glory, right?
Right.
Like, when you can't tell people how you got it, that is beautiful to me. I mean, because you can't even try to make it up or try to make it yours. It's like, oh, look, I don't know. It was handed to me. Right people, right place, right time. And I thought that that's what I was supposed to be doing, like making money so that I could write a check and help other people that are going on mission trips, because it wasn't in my heart. And nothing was going right. I mean, I was a good tither. Generosity is not a problem for me. I was struggling with some of trying to find time to serve at church. Tried for a while. Heart wasn't really in it. My mom ended up getting very sick, and so it gave me an excuse to kind of like get away from that. But I struggled to the point that after having a walkout in a salon, I fired 2 people that had been working for me for a long time, and it was the hardest thing to do. And deep down, I always wanted just to help people, but God opened my eyes to something I did not realize I was doing, and which is kind of scary, because how much are we doing that we don't know we're doing out of goodness? We think we're doing the right thing out of good intention, but if you're not growing spiritually, you're not going to see what the self-serving side of it is. And it comes to a point where it started off all innocent, helping people, but then turned around, and now it's like self-serving to me, like that helping others filled a need in me. And God unveiled pride in my life, and I was like, I'm not prideful. I can't. Well, why are you holding on? You're holding on because of fear. You're holding on because you say this is for me, but yet you can't let go. Right? Trying to control it, and it was a process. I thought really that it was the end for me, like I was going to lose everything. And I turned on a dime finally, in complete surrender and desperation. It was like a second divorce, honestly. The first divorce was full surrender. Finally, I mean, really hearing God. It was an amazing time. I know that sounds crazy, but then it was like going through another divorce. It was like the same kind of heartbreak, but afterwards it was so, oh my gosh, I am on my knees. Lord, I am so sorry. Like, I didn't realize what I was doing, and it was not my intention. And there's grace, right?
Yes.
He's like, I know. I know, but if you would just sit still and listen to what I have to say, and I'm like, okay. And from that point on, even though I had been working on a reprioritization of my life since the divorce, because financially I knew I needed to, and things weren't quite right, and I saw my fault in it and was trying to fix that. By that point, it was completely different. It wasn't just, it was understanding that God isn't just first, but He's everything and should be everything, right? And
you know what your story says to me too, Evelyn, is it's not where you start that matters. It's where you finish. And you grew up in a parochial Catholic school, but without the knowledge of what it means to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. But you've really come full circle, that God revealed Himself to you in a very personal way, and all of a sudden the Bible just wasn't a history book or a poetry book. It was really God's Word, and it applied to your life in every way. And I don't know where you are today, if you just have a spiritual knowledge in your head without a personal relationship with Jesus in your heart. But we're hoping that you see the difference that Jesus made in Evelyn's life, and He wants to make the same difference in your life. He wants to come into your life. He wants to make His Word come alive in your life, and He wants to control your life. And if you've never given your life to Jesus, you can do that right now. There's no magic prayer or special words. You just can say, Lord, I want to know you like Evelyn knows you. I want to have that kind of relationship where you will speak into my life. You'll put a spotlight on my life and show me the things that I need to change in my life and how I can become more like you. If you just express those very thoughts to God right now, he will answer that prayer. He'll come into your life. He'll fully reveal himself to you. He'll walk your life with you, and he'll make more out of your life, more than you ever could. It's kind of like Evelyn said, she didn't even know how she got here today. But it was God that worked in her life and caused people to come into her life and circumstances to come about in her life that brought her where she is today. And where is she today? Wanting a deeper relationship with him. She wanted to go to seminary and really understand him in a deeper level. And so God has so much that he can do with your life. But the first step is to yield it to him. So won't you do that right now? Just bow your head and ask Jesus to come into your life and show you who he created you to be. And he would be glad to do that. And I know that Evelyn would be glad to hear from you. First of all, you can find out more about Evelyn on her website, which is www.evelynkershaw.com. And you can find this book, No Filter Needed, and read more of her story. And you can visit her at her salon. You can sit in her chair and pick her brain and her heart. There's nothing like being in your chair to be drawn into a close conversation. And so we'd love for you to get to know Evelyn better. And if anything on this show has helped you today, we'd love to hear from you at atimetodream@gmail.com as well. If you want to know more about Jesus, you can pick up the phone and call us at 972-380-0123. We'd love to talk to you more about Jesus Christ. So I'm Donna Skell, and for myself and Tiffany Ross, thank you. You've been listening to A Time to Dream. We hope you have a great week. Keep dreaming, and may God richly bless you.